Hello Epic 7 and welcome to this week's Hall of Trials video. Sorry this one's a little bit late, was busy with some real life stuff. Now this week we'll be tackling the Incomplete Fastus. Because there is no dagger sicar threshold for this one, and because some of my units I don't want to put mola into that are useful for this, I'm, instead of going for a high score team, going to just show you a full auto team that will get you triple S plus, and a secondary team that's not full auto in case you're missing one of the key units. Now I want to give you a headphone warning for this fight. This guy is loud, like really loud. Like Smilegate decided to shove the microphone down the voice actor's throat when recording this one. So unless you want to hear this booming in your ears constantly, you may want to turn the volume on your game down a little bit. Okay, so enough of that. Let's talk about the mechanics for this fight. For Incomplete Fastus, you want to have a Ice Thieves on your team. When it's a Thief hero and it's during the break phase, if they have 2 or 3 buffs, they attack a second time, and if they have 4 or more buffs, they attack a third time. Ice heroes also do 40% extra damage, and when the boss has a debuff on him, you do more damage. Well, really, it's if the boss has no debuffs on him, you do less damage, but same thing. Also, you can't have any earth elementals on your team, or it just buggers your entire set of damage. Now, there are a lot of really good Ice Thieves for this fight. I'll go over a couple of different ones. I picked what in my opinion are the 2 best, but you can use several other options. And you need to make sure that they have constant buffs on them, so you need units that spam buffs. In this case, I'm going to use DN. She gives me 3 of the 4 necessary buffs, and I'll use Faithless Litica. She gives me the 5th buff in the form of Skill Null. Nice thing about Skill Null is it never wears off. Now, if you don't have Sez, you could use Ran. If you don't have Alexa, you could use Karen. There's a lot of Ice Thieves that are appropriate for this. Sez's entire purpose in this is to just deal damage, so you want to put some damage stats on him. A Rage set would be better, of course, but I didn't want to move my gear around. Dust Devil is even better than Cruel Mischief when it procs, so I think it's worth having because it will proc. It's very unlikely you don't get a proc after 3 hits. Now, I could have put Mola into his S1 and would have made him hit harder, but I wasn't motivated. And I did change him to speed boots because you want him to actually take turns. Exact same situation for Alexa. Alexa's just a gear holder. I mean, heck, her helmet isn't even fully 90'd yet. Just stick some damage on her. I changed her to speed boots because I wanted her to actually take turns, and much like Says, Dust Devil is the best artifact if you have one. If you don't have 2 Dust Devils, give one of them Cruel Mischief. These are the builds for any thieves you would use. Any Ice Thief you can build like this. Now, Faithless Litica, I know she's an ML5, so if you skip to the second part of this video, you'll see a version that doesn't use Faithless Litica. I put her on Song of Stars just for the extra damage boosting, and that's really about it. I did change her to a health main boot and broke her speed set to slow her down from her normal PvP phase, because I didn't want her lapping my thieves so much that my thieves didn't get to take a turn. So really the only re-gearing I've done so far in any of this is changing boots and artifacts. DN is just my normal PvP DN, nothing fancy about her. You do want her on her S3 EE to give CR boosting to the team. I have her on an effect resistance neck, but you could probably change it to an HP neck if you're worried about tankiness, but the ER is kind of nice to keep some of the nuisance debuffs off of her. You do want to have Doctor's Bag on her to assist with cleansing. If you don't have it, it's not a deal breaker, but it certainly does help. Okay, now I said it's full auto, but that's not entirely true. You do have to manual the very first action of the fight, and that's because DN's AI is an idiot. When Fastus takes its first turn, he puts buff block on everybody. If you leave it on auto, the auto will use her S3, Doctor's Bag will cleanse the debuffs, but then you won't be able to apply any buffs. So to start the fight out, start it on manual and you use her S2. Her S2 will cleanse the buff blocks off, And now that that's done, you can go ahead and press auto. So the synergy of this team is the thieves will burst down. Sez has got a debuff on his S1, which can help with the damage boosting, because you do need a debuff for damage boosting. Now here's Faithless Lydica's S3. It's the cheese that makes this team easy on full auto. When she does her S3, she gives everybody on the team skill null. The nice thing about skill null is, unlike other debuff or other buffs, it never wears off. It has to actually be hit to go away. So it's a permanent buff through the entire break phase. That gives us 4 buffs on Sez, so he will attack once, he'll attack twice, he'll attack a 3rd time, and if Dust Devil procs like it does there, he'll attack a 4th time, and then his S2 passive will proc. So that's 5 attacks out of Sez. DN applies shields, that gives 4 buffs to Alexa. There's one from Dust, here's a second one from Dust Devil, a 3rd from her passive, and then we get the 4th and 5th extra hits because we have 4 buffs. Faithless Lydica applying Song of Stars keeps a target buff on Fastus that really helps our damage. Got a nice dual attack, so there's 1, there's 2, there's 3 Dust Devil procced, so we'll get the 4th and then her 5th hit. Sez attacks once, twice, Dust Devil procced, so here's the 3rd Dust Devil proc hit, and then the 4th hit, and then his passive S2 goes off, and we're already at double S, 3.2 million out of the first break phase. As long as we can get to the second break phase, we'll be clean. The skill null keeps us from taking any damage. Now, if you turned auto off here, you could manually use her S2 again like we did before, but I said it's full auto, I want it to be full auto, so we let DN waste her S3 skill into the buff block. We've got plenty of time to recover from that, though. This is why you want Doctor's Bag. The S2 will cleanse the one, and the Doctor's Bag will cleanse the other, and now we're debuff free with shields up. Now you see Fastus's ultimate bar there right beside his icon picture at the top center of the screen. He is 2 turns away from doing his ultimate skill. Now he's 1 turn away from doing his ultimate skill. But Lydica uses her S3 and it's got skill rollback, so watch that ultimate bar. Gone. So you don't have to worry about Fastus doing his ultimate again and putting buff block on everybody, and that makes it much easier to progress automatically into the next break phase. Now you could accomplish a similar goal using Ice Kisei as your one of your thieves, but you need to make sure you have some effectiveness on Ice Kisei because Fastus does have 50 or 60% ER in this in-between transition phase.
I will protect you with all my
I'll show you the truth.
Just like that, we're into the second break phase, and I've got 4 debuffs on my thieves. So there's 1 attack, 2 attacks, 3 attacks, no Dust Devil proc, so I only get the 4 attacks. Dust Devil has a 40% chance to proc, and missing it 3 times in a row is pretty low odds. So there's 1, 2, got the Dust Devil, there's our Dust Devil attack, 3, and then we get the S2 passive attack. Now, unfortunately, this will not give a 4th buff to Alexa, so we all got 1, Dust Devil, passive, and then extra hit. So we were shorted a hit because we're missing a buff on Alexa. But now DN goes, she gives barrier to everybody, and that reestablishes 4 buffs on our thieves. So now we get 1 attack, 2 attack, 3 attack. Oh, no Dust Devil, so we only got 4. Oh, Dust Devil, 4 attacks, 5 attacks. Got all 5 of them off. And 1 off Sez, 2 off Sez, Dust Devil proc, 4, and then his S2 passive attack. 6.5 million coming out of the second phase. If you turned off auto at this point and just manualed it, you could probably push it all the way to the end, but instead everything's out of order. Flitica uses her S3 in the buff block, so we don't get the skill null. Fastus was already on was only one turn up on his ultimate bar, so the reset was kind of wasted there. We get heal block. DN's not ready. I mean, nothing's right, and we just take too much damage to survive. I think clearing this part on full auto will take some RNG. And down goes Says. Got the target in the blind at least.
I'll illuminate the darkness with the full potential of love.
Doctor's Bag cleanses for us, but the damage has already been done pretty heavily. Without Says, it's going to be tough to recover from this. And Fastus is ready to take another turn, and because Flitica's S3 is out of order, we can't reset Fastus's ultimate, so he's going to strip and buff block everybody again, and DN is far away from being able to cleanse. So if I had gotten a little bit luckier about turn order and skill rotations, or if I had just turned manual on for this phase, I think this could have been a full clear with well over 7.8 million as the final score. But instead, we will just go ahead and take what we can get. Bye, DN. 6.651 million. That's well over the 4.5 million you need for triple S. I mean, heck, that's rank 14 on pretty much full auto. Now, let's say you don't have Litica. If you don't have Litica, you can run another thief. I like Ran because he's got a defense break on him. I've got mine on R and L. Again, the biggest difference is I changed his boots to attack boots and broke his speed set just to slow him down enough that he works in tune with the rest of the team pretty well. If he runs too fast, especially with R and L proccing, he'll lose all of his buffs and you don't get the maximum benefit from the double tap anyway, or triple tap. If you want to see the other units, go back to the Team 1 video. It will show the other units' stats. They're all the same. The only thing I changed was swapping out Flitica for Ran. Now this team needs to be run on manual. Without Flitica, it's really hard to do a full auto team and get the triple S plus score. We use DN's S2 to cleanse the debuffs. We're going to save Ran's S2 for inside the break phase since it's an immunity buff for everybody. We'll just rip the S3 to get a defense break on Fastus. We'll use Alexa's S2 to stack some poisons because it looks like Fastus is not immune to poison.
I'm already prepared.
And might as well use the S3 here, just try to push phase a little faster. Yeah, with some Mola, that would have, or better gear, that would have pushed phase. So now we're ready. We'll go ahead and have DN put up her S3 to give everybody buffs. And Alexa can go ahead and push phase for us. May as well use her S3 just for extra damage. Now, if you don't have SC Alexa, that's fine. You can run regular Alexa. She works just as well for this. A little bit less damage, but she works fine. Rand, we're going to use his S2. That'll put immunity on everybody. And now back to using his S1. It's 1 attack, 2 attacks, 3 attacks. We didn't get an R and L proc, so that's all for Rand.
Would it be fine if I just got rid of everybody?
With Says, we get 1 attack, 2 attacks, 3 attacks. No Dust Devil proc, so no 4th attack, and then his S2 passive. Dan will put Barrier up. That'll give Alexa her 4th debuff, so she can do 1 attack. Dust Devil proc, so there's our Dust Devil attack. There's her S2 passive attack. Then there is attack 4 and attack 5. One attack, 2 attacks, 3 attack, no RNLs. Dust Devil proc, so we get our 5th attack in.
You can call me Magical Girl.
Unfortunately, DN cut Says, so I don't get another round of Says attacks, so kind of a low score at 2.5 million.
Who will face me?
Now, if you whatever unit you attack will self-CR push. I don't want to cycle Fastus too much because we don't have a way to roll back his S3. If we took Kisei in place of one of the other units, we would get that, but I like the extra S2 passive proc that you get out of Alexa or Says. And that stacks the heal block. I'll go ahead and use the S3 and try to kill one of these eyeball things up front. Just they're extra nuisance damage, and I'm trying not to push Fastus if I don't need to. Using the S2, hopefully Doctor's Bag procs. It does, so that cleanses both debuffs off of us.
How should we do this?
Okay, we've wasted enough time. It's time to start bursting down Fastus. So we use Rand's S3, hopefully stick a defense break, and he resisted. Lovely.
Dazzling love, grant me your power.
With no defense break on Fastus, we may as well kill this other eyeball before it takes a turn, and then we can start focusing down Fastus.
Brace yourselves, vile fiends. Goddess.
I'll take down anyone who interferes with me.
No need to S2 yet, so I'll just S1.
This is it.
Got a Dust Devil proc, so there's an extra attack. And that goes... Oh, we didn't get his S2 to proc. Poisons are nice. We got 1 poison on there, so that's an extra 5% damage.
I always give my all.
We still don't have a need to S2, so I'm just going to S1. Tell ya, I've never seen RNL proc so little on Rand, and I've never, but it's being compensated by all these dual attacks. Okay, so with the S3 here, that should push phase into the second break phase. And there we are. Hopefully DN's skills are ready, and they are. So we can put our S3 up. That'll give everybody 3 debuffs. Sorry, that'll give everybody 2 debuffs. With her S2, that'll be a 3rd debuff. And then Rand's S2 that we saved will be the 4th debuff, as it gives everybody AoE immunity. Now, normally I'd S1 here, but I want to try to get the defense break on Fastus so that we get the extra 30% damage from attacking him with a debuff. Oh my god, we got 15%ed. What a waste. At least we got the RNL proc, so I'm able to do my 3 hits in. Another RNL proc. Only 1 buff this time, so only 1 hit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dust Devil proc 5, and then Says gets his 1. Hey, we got a debuff, so now we actually get to do legitimate damage. We lost a lot of damage having Ran and Alexa attacking into no debuffs, but that's just the way it is. I still think we're okay for triple S plus here. And there's triple S plus. Now, though RNL procced, he is out of the break phase now. He's got defense again, so we no longer get double hits. We no longer get the added damage. So just threw an S1 off of Rand there. Looks like we're set up nicely on DN to use their S2 next round. Might as well stick some poisons. And we can work on these eyeballs.
magical girl
Unfortunately, we're going to have to eat a heal block. I should have hit Fastus to push him up. That way DN could have cleansed the heal block and the buff block. So a little bit of a misplay there.
One hit. With everything I've got.
No reason to not hit Fastus now, so we'll do some damage. You know what? I'm going to put immunity up. I think immunity might stop the heal block. I'm not sure if this skill has a strip on it or not.
Agony and despair.
I guess it does have a strip because it stripped Ran, but everybody else kept the immunity up, so no heal blocks on everyone else. DN can give everybody an attack buff. And the anti-crit is also huge for surviving this.
I'm already prepared.
I'm not too late. I'm ready.
I mean, you could stop at any point in time now. We're past 4.5 million. We're triple S plus. You could just turn everybody's skills off or smash auto and not worry about pushing this deeper. But I wanted to show that it is possible to clear this phase if you are mindful about your attacks and keeping your health up and controlling the buffs. You can easily clear this, and that gives you a 1 million point bonus at the end, making it a very safe way to get to triple S plus. Now, if you don't have DN, this fight becomes a little bit more difficult. You can pull it off if you run Doris and Maid Chloe. Doris brings 2 buffs to the fight, and Maid Chloe brings 2 other buffs to the fight, including an attack buff. If you don't have Maid, then you can probably pull it off running Doris, Peyra, and Ran. Peyra bringing attack buff, Ran bringing immunity, and Doris bringing the other 2 buffs to the fight. But you'll definitely have to build Ran full damage and make sure that your other thief, probably Says or Summer Alexa, have really good damage gear as well, or you might have trouble hitting that triple S plus mark.
In the name of the goddess.
And again, much like with Ran, when you run Peyra, you'll want to put some other boots on her, breaker speed set. You want to get her down to be closer to the same speed as the other thieves. Otherwise, she'll be cycling turns when your damage dealing thieves should be cycling turns.
I'll take down anyone who interferes with me. Are you ready?
See if we get a defense break this time. Resisted again.
I will protect you with all my
The S2 just in time to get rid of the buff block and to put a shield on Alexa, who was pretty close to dying there. Double poison is nice for an extra 10% damage.
Would it be fine if I just got rid of everybody?
Kind of want to kill this eyeball up front.
How should we do this? I'll level the playing field.
Well, S2 more for the attack buff and cycling skills than the
Show me what you
immunity.
can do. I always
Kill that
give
thing. Nice RNL procced.
In the name of the goddess. Sparkling, dazzling love.
S3 to get an attack buff on everybody and also the anti-crit. I'm just going to use the S3 because it's going to hit harder, I think.
Brace yourselves, vile
Nice
fiends.
chunk of damage.
Show me what you can do.
That's about that, I
Either you
think.
win or lose.
We use the S3 and we get a defense break at the very end. Man, I must have forgot to put any effectiveness on Ran.
I'm already prepared. I'll show you the truth.
I won't back down.
There we go, 4.7. So kind of a lowish score, but since it's a full completion, that takes us up to, gives us the 1 million point bonus for 5.7 million, far above the dagger sicar threshold. So even if your gear is lower quality, I'm sorry, I said dagger sicar, but far above the triple S plus threshold. So even if your gear is lower quality, this should be an easy way to get to your triple S plus team. So hopefully either this team or the full auto team helps you complete Hall of Trials Fastus easily and get you your points. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments section. And as always, like and subscribe. Have a great one, everybody.